Okay. Thank you, everyone. My name is Alex. I'm from BitBase, and we are going to speak a little bit about regulation. First of all, I would like all the assistants to present themselves in a short presentation of what they do and what their expertise. So, please.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Lau. I'm from OKX. I'm Chief Innovation Officer at OKX. I've been with the company for about 8.5 years. We're a global exchange. We operate in many jurisdictions around the world, servicing retail users as well as institutions. We also have a wallet product that's a self-custodial wallet. And here in Argentina, we have a team here. We're servicing Argentinians here too. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you. Please.
Okay, my name is Pablo Casadio. I'm co-founder of Bit2Me, the largest exchange in Spain. And we are opening operations today in Argentina. And I'm very happy to be here because I am from Argentina. Así que first Argentina y segundo Francia. Y es algo que we are very glad to be here.
Thank you.
My name is Matías, Goldenhorn, CEO for Athena Bitcoin. I was born in Argentina. The company is based in the US. And we are one of the largest Bitcoin ATM companies in the world.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eduardo Garza. I'm the head of trading for Nonco. Nonco, if you don't know it yet, it's one of the largest OTC trading firms in the world. We serve only institutional clients. And we have two main business units, which is markets and payments. So we do both for all type of institutional clients around the world.
No? Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Min. I am the Chief Business Officer here at BitGets. As many of you know, BitGets is one of the largest copy trading platforms in crypto. We have over 800,000 copy traders within the platform itself, plus 180,000 elite traders. We are operating here in Argentina as well, so we're very excited to be here.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, so how I said, we're going to talk about regulation. We have, I think it's an interesting panel with all the assistants that we have here with a major exchange. On our case, when we started BitBase on 2017 in Spain, there was nearly no regulation. So we didn't know how to do things or where to inscribe ourselves, what do we need to do. There were no limits. There were no KYC. You had to understand the rule as logically as you could. Then years went past. There started regulation from Europe, etc. So one of the things I would like to ask is, what countries have you found the harder, because of the regulation, to open market as an exchange? And what has been that? Anyone?
Well, for us in Bit2Me, I will start. As our origin is in Spain, and Spain, we have a register at the local SEC, local regulations, since the last few years. So for us, it was very difficult in 2014 when we opened the company, really to have a bank account. That's our main issue here and our main difficulty.
Okay.
So for us, Spain, it was not so easy during the first years. We were like the haters of the traditional banking system. So it was very difficult, no, to provide ramp in fiat and crypto. That's our main difficult position. Nowadays, as we have the new regulation, it's very, very easy. Really provide services to the European market. And here in Latin America, for us, we are very comfortable with all the work that is doing the local regulators here, really. The CNV and the central bank, they are really, it seems like they're really very open to listen to us. So that's a very positive point for us.
Okay, thank you.
For us, it's kind of different. We're going to share a different kind of point of view because most of them are exchanges. But for us in Onco, we take it very seriously, and mainly because of the payment side of the business that we offer. As you guys know, there is a lot of money that is moving with stable coins, and that has to be hand in hand with regulation. So lately, some important countries, mainly in America, has been struggling with this. Why? Because of the nearshoring, because of the level of the rates that are attracting a lot of money into their countries. But I believe, and Nonco believes, that regulation still needs to get even more strict and be taken seriously in order to see if we could take these stables and payments business into another level or not.
Okay, thank you.
So for us at OKX, we operate globally, as I mentioned earlier. And being licensed and being regulated in the places we operate is supremely important, right? We work, I'm sure as all of we do, we cooperate, we work and converse with our regulators very frequently. And to your question about which parts of the world or which countries are more difficult, I think everyone is sort of on the same path, yes. Right? I think we all understand that these regulatory frameworks are in place or coming. For us, we're regulated in the US, we're regulated in the EU, we're licensed and regulated in Singapore. We just announced our license there. In Dubai, Japan, we've been licensed and regulated for 4 years now already. So we've had a lot of experience over the years working with regulators around the world. And the broad point I'm trying to make is that it's all trending in one direction. And I think as companies, responsible companies in the space, it's just so important to make sure that those conversations continue.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think just to add a little bit, right, what the rest of them say, it is important that we see the evolution of the regulations, right? The landscape has evolved over the years significantly, and that is something that we continuously see as a positive sign. In the way that it has shaped up so far, regulations will continue to become a little bit more global, right? Right now, it is very scattered in terms of regulations spread out with MiCA itself. The US has its own regulatory woes, and we have other regions like the Middle East where we see a more friendly approach of regulations. So we would see this trend over time as regulations evolves and continues to do so. To become a little bit more, less fragmented, I'd say, and a little bit more global in terms of its approach.
Okay, thank you.
Please? So the question was, which countries is easier to operate due to regulation, right?
Yeah, which one, from your own experience, which would be the country that has been the hardest or the easiest?
Yeah.
As a regulation basis to open?
No, the easiest by far is the United States of America. The country is #1 for a reason. They have taken the approach of let it grow the industry, and now the regulation is catching up. Unfortunately, Europe is a no-go zone for my industry. I don't know what Europeans are doing in terms of over-regulating. Latin America is a little mix and match. Some countries don't know where to put us, so we see an opening and we go there. Some other countries is paralysis by analysis. So for now it's United States of America, El Salvador, and now with Milei here in Argentina, I think that's gonna be the axis. Donald Trump, November 5, President Bukele, and Milei, nice. That's going to be the new crypto axis of the world.
I totally agree. I want to launch a question now. Like, as we know, in Europe, now the MiCA is starting, will start, all the exchanges that want to operate there will be under one rule. So, as in a client point of view, KYC regulation, it's something that's not good, because it takes more time for you to understand, and also it's something that goes on behalf of the nature of crypto. So when Bitcoin started, everything, your Bitcoin, it was there's a privacy thing that goes on. So I would like to ask, what is your opinion about if regulation it's good or bad for crypto? How do you think that affects? For sure, in a client basis, clients would prefer not to, but as in a global way, do you think it's good to get a strict regulation, even it goes on behalf of the nature of crypto? One?
Yep. Perhaps I can start. So the regulators across the globe, they do have a real challenge. The question here is, how do you regulate an industry that is borderless, always evolving, and essentially constantly innovates, right? So regulators can only play catch-up at times. There are constantly new things that are coming out in the industry, and it is important for the regulators to understand how to regulate this. In our view, in the long term, regulation can be a good thing because it instills trust within the marketplace. And basically, all responsible actors and players, we want the same thing. We want market integrity. We want user and investor protection. So to that end, once regulations becomes more sort of like principle-based approach, that is going to allow for this industry to continue to foster in terms of innovation. And that is what we are definitely striving and pushing for as an industry.
Okay, thank you.
I see regulation as a tool. As a tool, it's not good or bad by itself, but what gives the good or bad is the intent of the person using the tool. If the regulator behind the regulation is trying to use this to mute or keep this industry small, of course, regulation is bad. If regulation is used to protect consumers, of course, nobody should be defrauded. And that's one type of regulation that we look closely at Athena Bitcoin. There are a lot of scams involving crypto. So again, regulation is a tool. If the tool is used to prevent people being defrauded, we welcome it. What we see is regulation, the tool, many times is being used to try to kill the industry. There is a senator in the United States of America that is a communist, Elizabeth Warren, that came out with trying to kill crypto because she doesn't like freedom. So that's an example of bad regulation.
Yeah.
I also agree with you, of course, with you. But I think that the point here is to a nice debate would be up to when we have to regulate, because we neither of us, I think that we hate over-regulation. Of course, we need to take care of the investor, the small investor, to foster education. That is, for me, is the great weapon to join this tool, education. But please, and I talk with all the regulators here, in this room, there are a lot of people creating and innovating. For me, it's easy to speak here in Bit2Me, but we were 3 people innovating 10 years ago. And that people do not need regulation today. They need to innovate. So I ask the regulators to join us and to help us to foster innovation also. Okay, take care about the people, the consumer, but foster innovation with us.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with my colleagues. I think it's a matter of time, it's a matter of months after Trump's arrival to the presidency in the US, that regulation is gonna start being the next question for all the industry. I think that the question is, how is it gonna be, you know? Of course, hopefully we're not gonna be in a over-regulated industry, because if not, we're gonna fail and stay in the same TradFi kind of industry, you know. But totally, I mean, not only me, but Nonco believe that in an institutional world where some big institutional clients that we can even find right now in TradFi that are now coming into the crypto industry, those are coming because they trust us and they trust in a very strict regulation. Because if not, they won't be able to do or even carry their business from TradFi to the crypto industry. So we believe that it's going to be 2025, a very, very, very important year in terms of regulation. But the question is how. and we need to trust on the people that are going to decide this. And I think that whatever the US decides to do in terms of regulations is going to mark like an exponential point, an exponential point for the crypto history.
Thank you.
I think one point, Min, you mentioned about investor or customer protection. I mean, that is fundamentally why regulation exists, right? Because, as an exchange, we're holding assets on your behalf. You need to trust us to not do something bad with your assets. And so, yes, regulators are playing catch up, but also the industry itself, we have an obligation to make sure that we take advantage of the technology, right? A lot of these assets are actually on chain. You can prove that we have not taken advantage or moved or did something bad with your assets. One thing that we do, and we take this very seriously, is our proof of reserve program, right? We make sure that we show you, any user on the OKX platform can go verify that their assets remain there. We have not moved it, we have not done anything with it, and you can have access to it. That's very important. And we've now, just yesterday, we marked 24 months now that we've been doing this. This was a direct response to something that we're all familiar with FTX and everything and other bad actors in the space. As an industry, we should be promoting and pushing regulators to actually adopt the benefits of our technology and the space. And so I think there's still, there's innovation and there's, things to go, but that's what I think is where we're actually heading. Is our industry is going to be leading a lot of financial services industries in the future, because as assets all go on chain. Proof of reserves is going to be critical to proving the validity and the trustworthiness of these institutions.
Okay, thank you. Now, this was not planned, but I would like to ask maybe a little bit a tough question. So one of the things we lived when first the Russian conflict started in Spain, they were in Barcelona, lots of Russians live there. And so automatically, they canceled all their bank accounts. Maybe people that have been living there for 20 years and they have their children go to a good school, they have their regular job there, and they had so no access to any money. Lots of people, thanks to crypto, they could still pay maybe the school of their kids, the rent, whatever. And from then on, the exchanges from Spain could not accept funds that came from Russia because of the regulation. That's what I was talking when I said that the regulation sometimes can go out of the nature, of the real nature from crypto. I know it's a difficult theme, but what would you think of that? What do you think of this aspect? Do you think it's fair? What's your opinion on that?
What was that? Sorry, it's a little hard to hear on this side, but your question was about sanctions on Russians and Spanish people couldn't...
regulation also talks a lot about what countries you can, at what moment, and tells you what funds can you get. It keeps, as you said, it's something that keeps changing constantly. So in a crypto nature, something that could be helpful for some people, then, because also there is a risk, a high risk, then automatically all exchanges could not accept and that people could not do it. So it's, that's why I was talking, what do you think from that part of the regulation?
I mean, we at Nonco believe that, for example, everything that has some risk in terms of regulation, let's don't touch it. At least for now, and if Russia carries some risk along with it, we won't touch it. And I think that the industry, after what happened last year and 2 years ago, should be very careful as well with all of those risks to avoid losing trust with the clients, losing trust with the industry, and to wait a bit for the good and fair regulation that is coming in the next months.
Yeah, I think that is a little bit of a trick question, right? Because what you're asking more is towards the sanctions, right? Sanction is a little bit different from the regulations in terms of the crypto markets and how they regulate the industry overall. And as players responsible for sort of like ensuring that we have a safe platform, we do need to abide by some of the sanctions that has been imposed, right? And We do advocate as an industry for financial freedom and being able to do whatever you want with your money, and that is why we are in this industry, so that we are free from the reins of sort of like sanctions and, you know, but at the same time, we do want to prevent bad actors. So it is a delicate balance that we need to seek out as an industry and market participants to be able to understand how do we sort of like balance that out, because we're not able to completely ignore sanctions and serve everyone and anyone. We need to have a level of control and risk-based approach, essentially, at the way that we operate within the industry itself.
Thank you. Something else anyone wants to add? Okay, my last question would be, what rule would you put if you could talk to a regulator to make easier opening an exchange or the regulation? What would be like the one rule you would put in the market?
Maybe I'll jump in. I think we've seen and worked with regulators around the world, and I think the one thing that really helps for the industry and for businesses is just clarity, right? I think that's really the biggest issue in some jurisdictions which are lagging, is there's just a lack of clarity and vision towards obviously making the regulations fit for purpose, but also working and understanding how the technology works, what are the actual risks. And so clarity is probably my one change.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in our case, for example, we are working in the sandbox with the local regulator in Spain, creating like a platform for tokenization of real-world assets. And they are, I think that they are learning with us, you know? I mean, we are in the same journey with the local regulator, and for me, this is clarity. So we are very comfortable working in this way with them.
Thank you.
I think the one thing would be, listen, this is new. This is a collision between the old traditional finance and this new world. I've been in the industry for 7-8 years. I still don't understand everything. So the one thing, if I can only ask for one thing, is the regulator's approach to this is with an open mind and with a willingness to learn before putting sticks in the wheel and rocks in the road. So that's the one thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that everything for what they just said translates into clarity and transparency, and I really believe that the regulation should focus on that.
Yeah, I think what I would say is something that we don't want regulators to do would be enforcement actions, right? Like regulations by enforcement. That is something that we have seen in industries where once you start pursuing players by enforcement, then that sort of like ends innovation. And we can see in places like the United States where there's a huge debate about regulatory clarity, and people are in the industry continue to seek that clarity. And what happens if there's no clarity? People go elsewhere. So we have seen a huge influx of people moving to Dubai, essentially, and regulatory-friendly jurisdictions for them to open businesses. And hopefully here in Argentina, we're seeing a more regulatory clarity that is coming through with the public consultations, the regulations that is coming out hopefully next year, so that it could sort of like incentivize companies to move over and invest in the country and open businesses as well within the industry.
Thank you. So, well, our time is finishing. Muchísimas gracias a todos. Thank you very much, and continue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias a todos.